Everything looks good, Owen. If you want to ever see what you look like right now, that's what it's looking like.
Do I need to have these glasses here? I don't know. I'm trying to like.
No, everything looks fine. It looks awesome. People are definitely going to comment like this guy's got a big gulp with him.
That's what I mean. It's like,
Yeah.
You know what these are? 79 cents right now.
That's awesome.
3 months, 79 cents. That's a deal of a lifetime. You know, like, God, and here's the thing. Why does Fountain Pop taste so much better? Like, seriously, I
Yeah.
get cans at home, and that's the good stuff. Like, if you're buying cans these days, you're a millionaire, okay? I remember it was 12 packs for $10.
Yeah.
A 12-pack is $10 now.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I mean, I'm going, you know, I'm like, okay, I get to use the can or whatever. You know, my kids, they're breaking open the cans. I see cans all across our tables, and they're all half full. And they're clearly, there's no more fizz left.
No.
And I'm telling my wife, I'm like, they're no longer allowed to use this stuff anymore. Because this, like, they don't understand the value of this product.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're going to do it, then buy the RC crap or whatever, the other
Yeah.
Western Family or whatever. You never see Eastern Family, always Western. You know? But still,
Yo.
you know, like, yeah, no, but this big gulp, this 79 cents, it's been like this. It's almost like they forgot about the promotion, and it's still just ringing up 79 cents, 79 cents. You know, like unbelievable.
So now are you sending your kids to the corner store every time they want to pop with $1 in
Well,
their pocket?
yeah, exactly. No, they're getting the good stuff. I'm getting the fountain. The fountain tastes so much better, especially after work late. I get full of ice, and it's the ice that doesn't melt either. Like my wife bought me this ice machine for Christmas, and God loves her. I love her. You know, like all this other stuff. These things are the worst piece of shit ice cubes ever. Okay, like they're so small, they're dilute, and they're not good. And every single time I get into my freezer, you know, I find half the time that it's not filled, and it drives me insane. And I don't have one of those automatic ice machine things in the fridges. My parents do. They've had it since 1995. Don't trust the water anymore in that thing, but still, you know, the thing is that every single time. So I get this big gulp. The guy actually notices, the clerk. He always goes, you know, one time he didn't even charge me, and he says, you always just get ice because I fill it so packed full of ice. There's virtually no pop in it. You know, so like he's like giving me a deal. He's like, I feel bad for charging you for this syrup, you know, this brown syrup, you know. But yeah, no, it's so funny. I can't do it, and it lasts. The ice actually, like, it doesn't dilute. I'm amazed. Whatever is in this thing, clearly it's got to be.
It's GMO ice.
Yeah,
Sure.
I know.
It's GMO ice.
Yeah, I know it's something. Like, I mean, again, you know, and again, it's in a plastic cup.
Yeah.
I got a paper straw in a plastic cup. 79 cents. That's like, oh my God. Just give
People who know Owen are going to lose their mind.
I want to be back to reality on things.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
No,
awesome.
I hate or paper straws, paper forks and knives. That shit doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
We can't. You can't eat a proper meal with that.
No, it's like I go like one of my kids' birthday. He's born on St. Patrick's Day, and we were at a party. It was a rock climbing party, and we have the juice boxes from, I don't know, Dole or whatever those companies are. You know, one of those things. It's an 8-pack, and they're the tiny juice boxes. They haven't changed. The size format has not changed in 30 years or whatever, you know, and it's wrapped in plastic. And then once you get into the individuals, it's wrapped in plastic. And then once you open up the plastic and then the plastic, the straw is wrapped in plastic, but the straw is paper. What the hell is that? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So what are we doing? You know, like, why? Like, why do we have to be so difficult on everybody?
We're
Like,
saving
come
the
on.
planet, Owen.
We're
I think you
saving
need to
the
get on
planet.
board.
Well, it's for the turtles.
Yeah, it's
It's for the turtles.
Bro, if a straw is killing you, you gotta die, bro.
You're saying turtles should evolve to be able to fight plastic straws?
I think turtles should evolve to be able to fight literally anything. That's what I think they should do.
You know, they should hide their shells, you know? Like, they got that defense going for
Yeah,
them, you know?
if you see a straw come by, just suck in, you know?
You know, and it's also like they're slow on land. Okay, I'll give them that. But this paper straw plastic thing with the ring, because that was always big in the 90s, was the straw, you know, the plastic ring
for
was
the
going to go
six-pack,
around.
yeah.
You know? The turtle swims very slowly. It has enough time to prepare. You know, like I don't understand. They can see it from a mile away.
Yeah.
It's just like just slowly.
Marine
Reminds me
biologist all the time.
when Austin Powers thinks, no, you know, for 3 minutes long, no, you know, just get out of the way, man, you know, like just tilt a little bit, you know. It's actually moving slower than Titanic when it had a chance to turn over the freaking iceberg.
Turtles are just always having a Dragon Ball Z episode. All the time.
No, it's just it bothers me because it's just we live in a world where a lot of other countries have way more population, whether it's China, whether it's Chile, whether it's India, where there's no recycling going on, there's nothing happening or whatever, everybody's throwing in the same trash bin or whatever. There's also these reports or whatever that they've done on CBC where you throw the trash in Vancouver in the recycling and the compost, and they've tracked it with one of those AirPods or whatever, and it's all going to the same landfill. It's all getting dumped to the same thing. To me, it's just we're making life difficult for each other. That's it. It's not because I don't believe in the environment. That's not what I'm saying. It's just I find it like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we in the rain are going to pack our booze or whatever or our groceries in paper and then be like, oh, I'm going to try to get to the car and everything falls out? You know, like I hated that when I would go up to the stairs and if it got a little bit wet, things would fall and I'd be like, damn it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, okay. So you can go, well, why don't you take the reusable bag? I have a hard enough time getting out of the house without forgetting my keys or my phone. I'm getting old, you know, like I'm forgetting things or whatever, you know, like my wife could be like, here's this coupon. And I drive and I go, oh crap, I forgot my coupon, you know?
Yeah.
So why would I remember a reusable bag? And even if it's in my car, I will forget it.
Yeah.
You know, I just give me the plastic bag. Like, I don't even care if I get a surcharge to fight the environment. We already do that with the carbon tax. What's the difference? I'll pay 50 cents instead of 25 cents just to get a plastic bag. You know, like, why? And that's what I use for my cans, the empties, when I actually am recycling. So I'm getting double screwed, you know?
It's a Chocolate Cowboys podcast where the good times always last. So grab your white monster and watch them ponder. It's a Chocolate Cowboys podcast. A couple of buddies who think they're funny. Are they brothers or do they have feelings for each other? It's a Chocolate Cowboys podcast.
Dude, I do that on principle. I'll just take plastic or paper bags whenever they're like, you know what? If you're making me use a paper bag, it's a inferior bag. I'm not paying for it. The plastic bags were so much better.
They were so much better.
And, dude, you have a closet full of reusable bags. We used to have closets full of paper bags or plastic bags.
Yeah.
And we just use them
For the
whenever
garbage.
something happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to throw up, you need to bury bury an animal. Like, always super helpful. You can't do that with.
You know, I was thinking to myself,
bags.
you know how, like, like, have you guys ever seen the movie Lucky Number 11? Does that one ring a bell? Bruce Willis?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't really watch movies like that.
You don't watch movies like that? Okay.
Not really.
Well, there's a scene where these bad guys, they always like bag people over the plastic bag, and that's how they kill them. You know, I bet you anything, we might get to a point in 20 years from now, if we even bring the plastic bag, we're going to go through this whole thing where people are killing themselves again, the choking hazard. Because you can't breathe in a plastic bag. We're going to forget about that.
See, and that's the bad thing about the paper bag is because if you do that with a paper bag, you're
getting tightly waterboarded if there's
Yeah,
a
it's
little
just
bit enough
soggy.
water.
That's all. Soggy.
You know, so the thing is that, okay, the self-checkout, the whole aspect. I go to Dollarama a lot these days.
oh, let's go.
And you know what? There's some decent deals. Like, I'm not Rockefeller, don't claim to be, or any of that kind of stuff. But the fact is that you can go to Save On and pay $3 for beefaroni, or you can pay $2 at Dollarama.
That's the truth.
And you know, my kid, he's obsessed with Chef Boyardee.
The chef.
The chef, you know?
The chef.
And the thing is that I go to the count every single time. There's 5, checkout counters. There's one clerk, and they won't go to their cash out thing. You have to go through your self-serve checkout. It's like, I don't understand what they're saving money, but like, why wouldn't you still have the clerk behind there? And then if it gets busy, then people still have to do it. Like, they're just making it inconvenient for everybody.
No, the issue was the clerks couldn't speak English properly, so we had to get machines. But then the issue there is that the people that go to Dollarama, they can't read English on the machine. So now we're in a loop. It's just a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's insane.
I hate those stupid self-serve machines.
That was close. Whoa. As soon as he started his sentence, I was like,
Where are we going? Where are we
This is gonna
going?
be our last episode.
I'm not there yet. If you're like a quarter of a Bacardi lime
Oh, you
here.
gotta let us introduce you.
Yeah.
We've just been talking about paper straws and paper bags. We haven't got a chance to actually introduce who we're talking to.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. No. We just keep rolling. The thing is that I'll just keep going. And eventually
I like
we'll get to a
that.
segue where by the end of the show, where it's going to go back to the paper straws and it's going to be a mic drop.
There we go. There we go.
We're
We'll get
setting
there.
it up. Well, for the people who are tuning in the first 12 minutes of the podcast,
We've been on already?
Oh, yeah.
we're talking to Owen Coomer, the brilliant mind behind the Barn Country Bar, the hottest bar in BC,
100%.
and somebody who is quite famous on Facebook. I have discovered over the past couple of years of being friends with him on Facebook. And Owen has quite a few things that he's passionate about. The reason we're bringing him on today is we got a snap election coming up, and Owen is a proud conservative. And
Yes,
sir.
Not always have been.
Oh, okay.
I'm 40. I'm turning 42 this year. I can admit that my politics has changed.
right.
True.
As I've grown
As
older.
anyone should.
Whereas I find that a lot of times older people get set in the ways where if you vote, a certain way, they'll vote for life.
Yeah.
Regardless of the person, regardless of the party stands, regardless of whatever.
Right.
I think it's always important to say adapt. But
Right.
yes, currently right now,
Yes.
yes, I'm a proud conservative.
Well, yeah, you're open about it. That's why, that doesn't mean that I agree with. No, I'm joking.
I'm entitled to their opinion.
I've seen the people that you argue with, and I don't want smoke. I don't want. There's people that just wait for Owen to say anything on Facebook, and they'll find a way to relate it to his political
Pretty
views.
much.
It's awesome.
It is true. It is true. I've actually tried to post less because every single time it starts to break families apart and friends and all these things. And it's like, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just posting,
Well, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Come on. Is that for me or Owen? Why?
Cheers and get the podcast.
We do have a podcast going. I'm drinking. I've been drinking, dude. It's a Coke Zero. No, I actually, I'm not.
that?
That's a Cherry Coke Zero. You want one?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, I got
Just a note. If you're talking to Chiggy, try to have it your mouth
Oh,
on the mic.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, it should still pick up as long as you're in the same distance.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no. Anyways, but yeah, Owen posts a lot of different things on Facebook. One of the things I really wanted to pose for you, Owen, and maybe you could explain to people first so they have some context. What is it that you do with burgers?
The big burger boss man from the barn. That's what we need to get to.
Yeah.
Burger is the first part of that.
There's something that you do, and it's really generated a large fan base. Can you explain your process? So what happens? How do you get to that point where you're leaving these late night burger reviews?
Okay, so it usually starts with I'm hungry. Obviously, a lot of people
a
go.
great place to start.
A lot of people go. Well, you always post really good things about your food at different establishments throughout the years. Why don't you just eat that food, or why don't you make something at home, or whatever?
Right.
Truth be told, I really love burgers. I do. I really love primarily beef burgers, but I remembered my dad was a big burger lover himself, and there was a time where I went down to Seattle to go to the Kingdome where the Seahawks were playing. That was that far back. And he took one of my friends at the time, and we stopped at 3 burger joints along the way, like the drive-ins, where they had people on roller skates come to you and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then we would go to another one, and we would go to another one. And by the time you've gained 80 pounds or whatever on this thing. But the thing is that I like dirty, delicious, old-fashioned burgers, and and a lot of times, you look at something like the smash burger, for instance. Right now, it's making this resurgence. To me, a smash burger, in a lot of ways, with what's in it and just how it's all set up, that's an old-fashioned burger, way back when. We're not reinventing the wheel here, you know. So I'm not pretentious in any way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a great steak. I love if I can go out. I have 2 beautiful children, and I don't go out as much as I used to back in my 20s, or have that money where I was spending it on visas, they're done,
Yeah.
and I really like fast food, and I love trying new fast food items, and I don't go all the time. I don't go as often as I used to, but when you're in the service industry, you work until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. There is nothing open. And I'm not talking about sitting down at a Denny's or something like that at 5 in the morning, or, Top down in Vancouver. It's just, to me, that's your only haven. And this is even before some subways are open at least 24 hours. So there was some little bit of a better standard. So I love trying new things, and that's kind of where it came down. And so what happens in my process is I grab it, and then usually I go and I get like a big gulp, or I have their large drink. I will not do it from A&W because they don't give ice, and that's bullshit. Because the thing is that it's like, I understand you're giving more pop. I get that. And I know it's super cold and chilled, whatever, but half of your time your Diet Coke, it tastes like root beer because the lines, they actually cross due to some sort of osmosis bullshit. But the thing is, and that's why you don't see it at restaurants a lot of times, A&W. That's a fact. It actually starts mending and eating through the lines. That's why, again, you can taste root beer even through to Sprite. I'm just saying how it is. And anyway, so but I love ice. So like I said earlier, and so I'll get a pop, and then usually I'm a drinker, I like my rum, and, especially my Bacardi Lime, and I like to get home, and I just like to crush it. And by that time, the palate opens up, and it's just like, like it gets my creative juices going, and I eat and I review, and I'll tell it how it is, And I think that I know my shit in that department, so it's just one of those things.
Yeah, for sure. I saw your last chicken burger one.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of depth to that.
There was, but here's the kicker: wasn't drunk.
Oh,
that was a sober comment.
Oh,
I'm disappointed in myself.
Do you think it's like you're still pretty close to how you feel about it, or is there a time where you're like, oh, when I was drunk, I loved this thing, and then when I was sober, this thing was disgusting? But it's usually pretty close.
It's pretty close, I would say. Because I'll tell you, for everything that I've kind of learned, whether it's heavy drinking or not, or social drinking or not. And again, this has nothing to do with people that have got off the sauce or haven't or whatever. This is nothing. It's just alcohol has been a part of society from the get-go. Whether it's wine or whatever, beer. Yeah. There is something about the alcohol, and then it just opens up things. Whether it opens up the tongue, it opens up the mind, it opens up whatever. And
definitely opens up a lot of stuff.
It opens up a can of worms. The thing is that, it's just, there is something to that. And I know that a really good friend of mine, the East Indian Basic Eyewear. He told me this a long time ago. I mean, he's my eyeglass guy. Like, brilliant. Shout out to Paul. And the thing is that everybody knows Paul. Everybody loves Paul. He's like, if you're ever going to Szechuan Chongqing on 12th and Commercial, which is by far the best Chinese in the city for spicy Chinese, orange peel beef, the beans, amazing. Oh. You got to be a little bit intoxicated when you're eating it, because that's when you eat it. It's the same with East Indian food. It's that much better when you've had a few.
Yeah, true.
So that's it. It's in a nutshell, and it's like it just opens up the palate to like bring in the flavors.
Dude, I've been in Sri Lanka my whole life. I've never had Indian food or Sri Lankan food drunk. So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. You don't know what you're missing then, I think.
Dude, I gotta try this tomorrow. I'm giving Achima a call to get her.
Well, that's what you do is you have a few drinks prior. It's like, it's Kobe as a good example. Kobe in Japanese restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Not Kobe Bryant. Okay. Yeah, don't get on that helicopter. Anyway, the thing is that if you're on the Kobe Steakhouse, they put you at the first level as soon as you walk in the door. You could have a reservation at 7. It's 7. They have your table ready. They will not sit you at that table until you've had at least a drink downstairs. They do this thing before they bring you upstairs. They're trying to get you liquored up.
They know their food isn't good enough.
Well, maybe that's just how it is. But I'm just saying that's part of the experience. That's the allure. It's the, why we like to, cheers, before and have sake or have a bottle of wine prior or an aperitif.
Right. It becomes a part of the tradition. Yeah.
That's all. That's just, that's how it is. So that's where that comes. I hope that answered your question.
No, it does. Yeah. So you brought up something interesting, is that when you're working late night, you really are limited in your options.
Yeah.
So I do want to know your ranking. sport because you like beef burgers. So I'll say cheeseburgers, just the classic, the cheap cheeseburgers. You could say the dollar menu one, if that even exists anymore. Of the big main one. So you can add some if I'm wrong, but I would say McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, A&W, Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Is there anything I'm
I
missing?
think so.
Okay, those are for just a cheeseburger.
Just a cheeseburger.
Just the big five. I'd
just
say.
the big five. Yeah.
I would say that Wendy's is number one, the JBC.
Whoa.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's the junior bacon, but no, it's
Whatever the
whatever the
cheeseburger
cheeseburger is.
Yeah.
I think it's like $1.39. It's pretty incredible.
Wow.
Okay.
The McDonald's cheeseburger, I would say, is the next one.
Oh.
I would then go and do Burger King before I do A&W because I'm pretty sure A&W doesn't really have a cheeseburger on the menu as far as I'm aware.
Their
And
buddy burger is just like onions.
oh, you
and
see,
beef.
that's a different burger now.
Yeah, it's
you
not
know,
a cheeseburger,
and
Get your shit right.
and the Dairy Queen isn't open past 12, so I can never get it.
True. You can't even it technically.
The
could count
greatest
as a late
deals,
night.
2 for $6, or the
Yeah.
doubles 2 for $7.
And their
But you
burgers
can't.
are good.
They're very good.
Their burgers are
They're
good. but
very
you can't
good.
put them in the late night.
You can't.
There is one Dairy Queen that's open till like 4 a.m. or something like that.
Okay, well, it's not. I would never drive wherever this place is.
It's close to the barn actually. It's on. It's just off Fraser and 152nd. It's really close to Fraser and 152nd. So you could actually do that.
Oh,
one night.
I know that one. The one that is by the
that place that burned down.
the Jacks.
Yeah.
And there
same
is
on.
the KFC
Yeah,
Taco Bell
where they
that's
have the
being
fucking-
renovated
The
right
carnival
now.
sometimes. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was 24 hours, but that's not
No,
really
not
on.
24. It's like open till 4
Oh,
a.m.
okay.
on like
It's
Friday.
not
open
really
till-
on my way home.
Yeah, you'd have to go out of your
technically,
way.
But I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I maybe what I'll do is I'll give it a
good-
shot.
yeah, a good chance,
And then
yeah.
when this podcast arrives, I'll throw it in somewhere in the comments as
Right,
to where
like
they
changing
will
your
find.
rankings,
You know.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
But that's actually really interesting that I'm just thinking about it, that A&W doesn't have a cheeseburger.
No, and they're regular burgers. You have to ask for the fucking cheese. Like, aside from, like, the monster burger.
Burger King's the same.
But
Well,
like,
not the
no, Burger King
cheeseburger.
you can ask for a cheeseburger,
Yeah.
but like at A&W, their cheeseburger is technically the mama burger. Is their cheeseburger, and you have to add cheese, and you'd have to take out the mayo, like the.
But you know what? The
the
mama burger
sauce.
is too big for a
Yeah, I guess-
cheeseburger.
yeah, I
Like, when
guess
I think cheeseburger, I'm just thinking like just a quick bite thing. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
So is it as a grown man, do you feel weird at asking for the mama burger?
At least they don't call the Papa Burger the Daddy Burger.
Like,
I
imagine
get
how
that daddy
bad could this
burger?
possibly be? I was going to be like, I definitely don't call it the Uncle Burger because he touched me. I swear that never happened. But
Yo, this is a safe space.
I don't know what
bro.
we're supposed to say on these things. Try to be as funny as you can possibly be. I don't. The Mama Burger's okay. It's fine.
But it
okay,
isn't in that category.
Yeah, if you're gonna throw in like what I liked about your category, regardless of the times or whatever, is that you didn't throw in Five Guys or Fat Burger or any of this because those
that's
they're not
elevated.
fast
They're
food.
not fast.
That's
food.
an
You know?
elevated burger.
You can't.
They're not.
Because they're a drive-through for Five Guys. You can't drive.
I don't think there is, but they're but a lot of people associate them with that. And a lot
That's
of times
not
people
fair.
are. I went to Five Guys the other day, and everybody's giving them grief because it's so expensive, so expensive. I went in there and I had a phenomenal double bacon cheeseburger. Phenomenal. Where I had unlimited toppings. I had green peppers. It was cooked to order. It was in the nice foil wrapping, all that kind of stuff. And I think it was $16, okay? Just the burger. With a drink. I didn't get the fries because I'm not a side guy. I can be, but I just choose not to at this point. But $16? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I just went to Burger King and I got a crispy chicken that sucked and a poutine with a drink. It was $17.09. But honestly, if I had gotten the Whopper, the full Whopper deal at this point, that's $15 with it.
Yeah.
I went to a quality restaurant. I'm not trying to throw Burger King under the bus because I do like them, but I'm just saying that it's not comparing things. But how these people that go to Five Guys are complaining about the price. What are you talking about? Like it costs, even for me, you want to go to the barn? It's going to cost you $19 plus fries. It doesn't include the drink. It's $19. Yeah, it's in a restaurant. It's a lot nicer and cooked to order. It's a great burger, but we're not talking about the same thing. So it's like, how do you even put that in the same category? Like,
No, for sure.
but that's why people suck. So it's just
That's true. That's true. But I do like I like Fat Burger definitely for their burgers. I feel like the quality of Five Guys has gone down over the years. And I think it's specifically from they used to make their own like a beef mix, and then now they've gone to frozen patties, and so that's just
Shaq's
not-
involved with it. He's got his own line of frozen patties now, like he's touting.
really?
And
Okay.
as he's gotten older, he's shrunk, so maybe that's how the quality has gone down.
Yeah,
because of
okay.
With his height.
his height is shrinking, so the quality goes down a little bit.
Or he
Yeah.
just saving more beef for himself. That guy's got to eat.
No. You know what? I haven't been that crazy a fan of Fat Burger personally. So I can't tell you that notice or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like Fat Burger, for me, Fat Burger, I've just been like, nah, it's just a Red Robin's burger at this point. Like, it just tastes the same to me.
Really?
Yeah.
The
Red
Red
Robin's
Robin-
was supposed to diversify, and now all their burgers are just the same
See,
burger.
that's the thing with Red Robin's is that they're good.
Yeah.
But they're tavern burgers, which are a lot smaller, and they're
Yeah.
trying to do again this not a smash, but like smaller.
Yeah.
They're better than the regular burger.
Yeah.
Really?
You know, like the tavern burger is a great tasting product.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that this weekend.
Do it.
My mouth
Double
is
tavern
watering.
burger is $17, and you're going to be like, "Holy crap, this is unbelievable!"
Okay.
You know,
value.
and it's Red Robin, known for their burgers, and their burgers aren't even that great anymore. their red pepper jelly thing is better than their burgers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I like their
So-
pepper ketchup. That thing is
You know,
fire.
this is a good question because you did say you're not a side guy, but you can be. But like, what is like fries just the best side to go with a burger, or do you usually want a little bit more substance in your side?
Honestly, I think fries are the go-to just because that is the standard.
Burger and,
And
fry, yeah.
I don't. Yeah, you can categorize different wines with a shoestring to waffle to whatever. But lately, because I've gotten a lot fatter, and it's not because of the whole
GMO.
whatever. I'm getting older. I've been put on some pills, weight gain, whatever. So I need a little bit more substance or whatever. As I do like a poutine on the side now, which is
Yeah.
something I would have never done, and it's so heavy and all this other stuff. But A&W onion rings are the best.
Really?
A&W rings are unbelievable.
Okay, I do
They-
like an A&W onion ring, but I feel like Dairy Queen really does it right. They get the nice crisp on it, the crunch, the bite, the flavor.
That is interesting you say that. I would actually have to say Dairy Queen as well. I feel like the A&W onion rings taste like onion rings that you'd make in like the oven. like a frozen
Well, I
onion.
have heard they've gone downhill, and I can honestly tell you, I don't eat them enough because
Yeah.
A&W's is ridiculously expensive
But
for
very.
a fast food.
No,
exactly,
You know?
yeah.
Like, and again, the quality is outstanding. It's probably of the fast foods is the best.
Yeah.
It has the worst commercials, and apparently that guy is a dick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He goes to, like, SFU and asks people.
This is 20 years ago. This is not a BS story.
Yeah.
And I mean, it could be completely different now. So that way I can't get sued.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that there's some guy that I know
Yeah.
that went and was in one of the commercials,
Yeah.
and he said this guy thought he was Mr. A&W. He thought he was the King's Jewels. Like this guy, and this was 20 years ago. So I can't even imagine what his inflated ego has gotten at this point. And he's probably the longest serving mascot of a brand outside of maybe the King of Floors. But that guy owns it. But then again, the Sir Fluff-A-Lot or whatever, Lancelot Fluff-A-Lot or whatever, that's got to be a different dog. That dog has died.
They've gone through like 3 or 4
It's
different
gotta
dogs
be.
at this
It's
point.
gotta
Yeah,
be.
100%.
But
They sent one dog to China because it wasn't acting right.
it wasn't acting right.
And that's a true story.
Didn't
They made
give-
him Szechuan chicken, dude. They did that.
Didn't give the best deal on the floors. Okay?
Oh my goodness.
They made them, but they sent it, and it was
What the hell? Oh my goodness.
He became
But
Ming
seriously,
Sings,
the guy apparently he's a dick, and now it looks like he's like Botox
Allegedly,
beyond
allegedly,
belief, and
yeah.
like slimmed
This
down.
was a
like,
plot
this
twist
is,
I didn't think that I would experience in my life in Canada, dude. Like
The A&W guy.
Yeah.
A&W guy
Again,
is
no
evil.
offense. This guy could be the best guy ever now. I don't know. But
Yeah, he
I will
could-
go
he
in
could grow,
to my
too.
grave knowing that somebody told me this guy's head
It's an
is
asshole.
so inflated and he's such an asshole.
We gotta have the A&W guy on next. That's what we
defend
gotta do.
himself.
Just
Yeah,
so
he's
that
gotta-
we-
Yeah, he's got to clear up his rap or something like that.
But the quality is phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
it's very good. Like you cannot beat a teen burger. Like especially when they're like $5 or what. Actually, shout out to the Fraser View. What's Fraser Heights? Fraser Heights A&W.
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, late night. This is in Surrey for all these people in British Columbia. After 9 p.m. till 12 when they close, half off burgers.
Oh, what?
Half off burgers at
Oh,
A&W.
wow.
You can get a double team for $4.
That's awesome.
Best deal ever.
You might have just unlocked something for a
Yeah,
lot
definitely,
of
100%. My fat ass is gonna be driving, bro.
They're gonna have security there. You just told everyone in Surrey there's a discount at it.
Discount at A&W.
Yeah,
It's
that's
better than their own goddamn
You might have
coupons.
just shut that business
Yeah,
down.
100%. There's gonna be 12 Toyota Siennas in the driveway.
That's gonna be a busy place.
Packed to the
People are gonna be
brim.
grabbing those, freezing them at home.
Oh, that actually, I've done that. I'm not joking. So my buddy, back when we were in high school,
Yeah.
so I worked at Rogers Video, and I thought I was Rogers Video. Like I was the guy.
Right.
And so my friend, he got a job at McDonald's. And we way back when, this is like late 90s, early 2000s, they had a coupon where you get a free Big Mac if they didn't get your order in the drive-thru within 30 seconds of you placing it. 30 seconds, okay? Or maybe it was a minute. But it was something impossible for them to actually get, okay? To actually figure this out. So my friend, he stole a bunch of them, okay? We're talking hundreds of these coupons. And everybody went to my house because, my parents, they didn't really care about what was going on upstairs, and they just ended up being, and I was the guy that had the PlayStation 2, and I had all the lights
PS2.
and PS2 way back when, and just a bunch of things. It was just always good. So the thing is that we had this ice box, and it was this huge ice chest, and we filled this thing, God knows, probably with 400 or 500 Big Macs, because on the coupon it didn't say an unlimited amount. You could give 5 coupons and you get 5 Big Macs. So we just kept on going. Anytime you went to McDonald's, you get it. So I'd line them up and they'd still be in the carton, and we had a microwave downstairs. And the thing is that every day that people come over, we might smoke a joint or whatever the case may be. We'd be playing video games late and be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go get a Big Mac," and just pop it out of the freezer. Okay, and so the thing is that it got to a point, and this I'm not joking. So at one point in time, we get to Squamish, and they had now changed the coupon. They had done some things or whatever. So I had a really good friend of mine. His name's Sanjeet, and he's kind of like half East Indian, And
with a name like Sanjeet, he's not going half,
Sanjeet Manhas, okay? And then the thing is that so we're there, and then we're going up to Whistler because we had rented a spot. It was like after graduation or something like that. And so I go to the McDonald's in Squamish, and I go there and I'm like, "Can I use 2 coupons and get a double Big Mac?" And then they're like, "Yeah, no problem." My next friend goes up, same thing. My half Chinese friend or whatever, Parson, he goes and gets it, no problem. And then my East Indian friend is at the back of the line. Gets up there. He's like, "Can I use 2 coupons? 2 Big Mac coupons, the 2 free ones. Just get a double Big Mac." No, we don't do that here.
Oh, shit.
And they were like, no, we don't do that. It's like, no, you have to go or get 1 Big Mac and then leave and then come back and get the other Big Mac. And we're all back there. We're like eating this double Big Mac and having a good time, And they're like, he's all upset. He's got 2. We're like, "What happened?" He's like, "I just got denied." Unbelievable that McDonald's being so racist.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude.
In Chilliwack?
Squamish.
Squamish.
Yeah. This is late 90s, early 2000s. But that's fact. That happened.
What year did this thing that you were doing this heist? What year did this take place?
This happened between 99 and 2002.
So I just want to say, there's a detective somewhere.
RCMP detective.
This 20-plus-year-old cold case is finally there's a
Cracked
break in
open.
the case.
I didn't do anything wrong.
The Big Mac heist. Of
I didn't
99.
steal the coupons. I just brought them in. But I had at least 500 Big Macs in my freezer at one point in time. And however, okay, that being said, do you remember the Ronald McDonald that would sit like this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we jacked that from some Maple Ridge one. And he sat in my house for like a year.
You're taking my sign thing to a whole new level, dude.
We jacked the ceramic McDonald's guy, jacked it, put it in the car. We had like a van, and it was like, honestly, the engine was like a sewing machine. But we used to drive around that thing. But yeah, he sat in my basement for a year. My mom's a teacher. She didn't say anything. Like I said, there's a lot of things that's just like, whatever, you know. But then,
was awesome.
but yeah, it was the greatest thing ever. Can you imagine playing video games with Ronald McDonald's giving you a hug? Best thing ever.
Just sitting in Ronald McDonald's lap, playing video games with your
Playing Prince of Persia.
No, we used to play Baldur's Gate. That was a big one. Because we could play 4-player multiplayer.
Yeah.
And it was the best
played
thing ever.
Baldur's Gate,
And
yeah.
all the time what we do is we take the TV outside and the video games when it was good weather and stuff, and we take out like patio furniture, and we're talking like not on a patio, like outside on the grass. We hook it up, extension cord, all playing and all this other stuff. It was the best. Baldur's Gate. One time, my dad, so we were playing upstairs for whatever reason. We decided to move, and we're playing Baldur's Gate, and we're all playing. Again, this was to another level because GoldenEye, you could play 2-player at the same, and Mario Kart and everything. That was amazing, and then they were Perfect Dark and whatever, and Mario Tennis, like way back when. But you get 4 players, playing at the same time. I just remembered my dad, he came home, and there's like 6 of us, but 2 players are not playing, and we're all watching this thing. It's like late night, and he's coming home late night. He doesn't realize we're in the upstairs, and for whatever reason, he decides, I'm just going to get naked in the kitchen and walk to the thing. And we're all playing, and then he starts walking towards, the door, but he's doing it like in the Sasquatch walk, like slowly, and it's like somehow like brightly lit to that one location where we're all in the dark and we're playing, and we're all like, yeah, this is great. And all of a sudden we like all turn at the same time, like in unison, and he just like stands there in this like awkward position, naked as a Sasquatch. And he like looks at us, he's naked, and he just like skirts off. I don't know. That just came to me. Baldur's Gate, I don't know.
That's awesome, dude. Your dad was trying to give you a sibling, bro.
It's insane.
True story.
Dude. McDonald's is coming after you. I don't know
100%.
if they respect the statute of
Dude,
limitations.
that's awesome. 500 Big Macs in a freezer. I remember as a
500.
kid, like,
and
we'd go
Ronald McDonald himself.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
I
We
remember,
had so many of these coupons. It was outrageous.
That's awesome.
I think I stopped like eating Big Macs for like 10 years because I couldn't eat them anymore.
no, after
Like,
you reheat 500 of them, man.
Disgusting, especially like if one was at the bottom. It's just like, I don't care how high or how whatever,
Yeah.
like it's no more. Like I applaud that Gortsky guy, whatever, that's on his
that's a Big Mac a
20,000
day.
Big Mac a day, whatever.
Yeah.
As he sees it's just shrinking and shrinking, and the money just going up through the roof. But like, 500 Big Macs. But man, oh man, what a disgusting
That
treat
might have
now.
created some kind of immunity in you, like, where you don't ever have to get like a vaccine or anything.
100%,
ever. Like
yeah.
that's real, like that's traditional immunity right there.
Yeah.
You just
Well,
gotta
just
really
Big Macs
dirty your
on
body
deck.
with all those
I just-
500 Big
I just
Macs.
watched this thing that came up on my Facebook about the Big Mac, and some guys like pouring molten lava onto the bun, and the bun like burns slightly, but it just, then the guy's like, well, it didn't do anything differently, so he removes the bun, and again, this thing is burning everywhere,
Yeah.
and it's just, now it's the burger patty, and he's doing it, and the mold is just like flying away off the patty. It's
Dude,
not even-
I think your insides might be like mummified. Like I think
they probably are. It's
I-
probably made with formaldehyde.
I think years from now they're gonna like find your body perfectly mummified, but not in like a sarcophagus or anything.
Yeah.
They're gonna study you. They're gonna think you're a god, probably.
Oh, you're talking about me personally?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're-
because
I think it's the aspartame more than the burger. I drink so much Coke Zero or Diet Coke. I've been drinking that for 40 years. Everybody's like, aspartame is really bad for you. I can't wait to show up at your funeral and be like, look what happened. Yeah, maybe in 150 years, sorry, this thing, but like you rip open my body, it's like glowing yellow or something like that. But still, like, I'd rather be aspartame and rat poison or whatever than drinking so much sugar and be diabetic. Like,
No,
that.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
that.
that thing you're saying about the Big Mac and the lava is insane.
Oh, no,
You're-
you need to watch it.
You're
It's
telling me
serious.
that the Big Mac could have saved the people of Pompeii? That's insane, dude.
you think if people in Pompeii just ate enough Big Macs, they would have been fine.
Fine, dude.
They just got up. Just
Their,
like, hey.
their descendants would be with us right now.
They
dude.
just,
That's
they just
insane.
swim through the lava.
All right, man, it's too soon. Hey,
too
come on.
No, you make a raft in the shape of 2 burger patties. Just kind of like open it up.
Dude, we're solving so many ancient mysteries.
I know, right?
That's
The burger heist of '99 in Bombay.
No, I'm telling you, there's a detective out there that's really excited about this episode.
So I know this is completely irrelevant to the story that we're talking about.
No, let's go.
So everybody always gave me grief or whatever about working so much when I was young. Again, I was at Rogers Video. I was making, I think, at the time $7.15 an hour was minimum. That was minimum.
Yeah.
Now that was then. Okay, so this is like 98 to 2002 or some shit or whatever. Anyway, everybody's all like, okay, go do it or whatever. You're the only guy that's working, except for my buddy that, worked at McDonald's. But of course, I'm sure he got fired because of the coupon incident. But the thing is that I remember the day that we decided to upgrade from a PS2 to a PS3, let alone I had a Sony Trinitron 27-inch TV, like the 2-box. That was the highlight. And
That might be Elon Musk's son's name.
27-inch Trinitron TV at Costco and a PS3. The Trinitron in 2001 or whatever. No, I was making $7.15 an hour, $1,000 at Costco for a 27. And we loved to play. This was the best screen ever, and all this other stuff.
Dude, you're seeing it in 3D.
$600 a few years later for a PS3.
That's insane.
$600 for a PS3 at that time. Crazy, right? When you're thinking about it, you're like, I made $7.15 and somehow $1,000 27-inch TV. You buy a 65-inch TV for $699.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it's just wild.
Yeah, no, I just got a PS3 like not too long ago too, so I feel you. I know.
You just got a PS3.
I know the joy.
They've upgraded twice.
How much did you pay for your PS3 recently?
$79.
All right, I
Good
feel like it's
deal.
worth
Like,
$29.
it's a good deal.
Chiggy used to come to my house, so I had a when we were growing up. Chiggy had he had a PS3. We had another friend. He had an Xbox 360. Dave, Dan, Chat. What did we call him last time?
His alias?
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah. So that's his name. Anyways, everyone had like really nice systems, but they come to my house and I'd have a PS2. That was my most advanced system. But we loved that thing, man. We played Medal of Honor on that. Yeah. And we really figured out who was good at video games. It was never me, but
definitely wasn't me either.
I just sold my PS2. I'm kidding you not. I got my wife.
How much you get it? How much you sell that for?
I think $100 with the 4-pack controller thing and 4 controllers.
Damn.
Yeah.
No games. But yeah.
Someone got scammed.
I did it with my wife sold it. She wanted top dollar for that thing.
Yeah, that's a businesswoman.
Like, I got a 64 now still. I got an old Nintendo. I'm like still trying to find my old Atari, but I have a PS3.
Yeah.
And I also have a DVD player, but I have a DVD player that has the PAL function in it.
What
the
is
PAL
that?
function is that I can play DVDs from places like Australia and New Zealand because they have a different system.
Oh,
Like, even though it's the same thing, if I bought a DVD, if you were just general person and you bought a DVD, even in possibly the China or Singapore or whatever, you buy Die Hard 4 and then you put it in, it won't work because of the compatibility in and this is obviously going back 20 years ago, but the thing is that it was called the PAL system, and I went to Best Buy and got a deal for a DVD player that could play the both versions.
yeah. So you were watching Kangaroo Jack before anybody heard about it.
Like, Jerry O'Connell, man. Fucking,
That guy's awesome.
the guy was
I
awesome.
always said he should have played the Joker. He's got that face, dude. He's got a good face.
He's got a good face. I wonder what he's up to now.
Probably crack.
Actually, speaking of crack, have you
go.
seen the Justin Bieber, like the latest video of him listen to a concert at I don't know whose it was, but it sounded like the that rap song with the one with the Drake diss. Who's the guy?
Oh, not like us.
Not like
Kendrick.
us. That was the song,
Yeah,
Kendrick.
yeah.
But I don't know if it was Kendrick on there, but it was definitely whatever.
Yeah.
And Justin Bieber is like in handcuffs, and some black guy is like holding on to him, and he is so freaking skinny and cracked out, and like doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That TMZ today, like,
I just watched a video about
you
this.
watched the
Yeah.
video? Ooh.
Yeah.
What happened to that guy,
dude? I think
Maybe he's just real distraught because the Pope died.
Oh,
That's
that could be the
pretty
case.
unreal that he died on this day of all things.
Krishan has some things to say about that.
Okay, all right. So
Let me just top up.
Yeah. No, you're gonna have to top up. We're gonna talk about
For
this
where
now.
he's taking this.
So there's a lot of people that are talking about the Pope dying. So Pope Francis is apparently the Antichrist.
What?
And I'd say
wasn't he the nicest pope?
he was the nicest pope, but the
He was, like,
issue
super
is
chill.
Christianity doesn't like nice popes.
Okay, gotcha.
They want popes to hate gay people, right?
Okay, gotcha. Right.
And so the whole conspiracy theory is that when Pope Francis dies, that's when like the end of the world is going to start happening. And then when I woke up on Easter Monday seeing that Pope Francis died, I thought, shit, this might be right, because what other time would it happen? Right? Easter Monday, Jesus raised from the dead, the Pope dies. Now we get the next Pope. He's supposed to be the Antichrist.
That is crazy because they select a pope, like they do a pope draft.
So yeah,
Like the popes are coming in from the different countries.
bro, that's happening right now. So
as we speak.
Yeah. There's a bunch of like cardinals that will meet up right now.
Yeah.
And they'll just debate and talk about who they want the next pope to be. So there's 4 kind of front runners right now.
Yeah.
The first guy is a dude from Ghana. The second guy is I'm gonna butcher his name, but I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
Agango from the Congo. That's a real thing. And then they have a Filipino guy who is like kind of the right hand man of, or like he was as progressive as Pope Francis. And then the last guy is a Hungarian dude who's super conservative, hates gay people, and so the kind of it's a kind of a coin flip.
This is the
which way
most
it's gonna
diverse pope selection I've ever heard of. Was it like this every time?
50% of like we have a 50% chance of having a black pope.
That's awesome, dude. Black pope is gonna be awesome. He's gonna be great. Remember that one black guy?
But if he ends up being the Antichrist, bro, come on now. We can't have the first black pope be the Antichrist.
That's
dog.
true, man. That's not gonna be good PR.
3/4 of them are from not white. So
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, well, hopefully.
What was the first guy? Where is he from?
Ghana. He's a black dude. I don't know.
He's the guy that's the front runner?
No,
The guy that was like, what's the name that you said?
no. I didn't say his name.
Say that.
Okay.
I didn't say his name, but
I thought you butchered his name. I was maybe that was the Congolese version.
the Congo guy is Agango from the Congo. So
You just
rhymes.
love saying that, didn't you?
Yeah, I do.
And I'm the racist one.
That's his actual name.
Oh, he said he butchered it. I don't think it's good to be butchering anything out of Ghana or Congo.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that
true.
what they
That's
normally do? You know?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Don't they always go hungry? Hungry? See? It's
Hey,
That might be a poet. Dude. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on.
Yeah, no,
dude, having a black pope would be great because you see the way black pastors and stuff talk. Have you seen that guy, the African guy?
yeah,
The one who's
oh.
like, if you go to heaven and you do not see me there, you have gone to hell. I love that guy, dude.
Yeah, no,
that would
for
be so
sure.
inspiring.
Dude, yeah.
How did you figure this out? Like he literally just died. How did you get all this information?
Oh, dude, it's out there, man.
They act
It's
quick
out there.
because there's a handbook of what you're supposed to do as soon as the Pope.
No.
It's like when the Queen dies, right?
Yeah, I think they like smoke out of the things, and
The white smoke means they've selected a new
Yeah,
pope.
but like, how did you get? You got the 4 front runners already. How did you get that information?
Oh, dude, I'm connected.
Holy,
I'm
moly.
connected.
this guy-
I got
yeah,
people in the
I'm
Vatican.
impressed.
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
like,
I got people in
This
the
guy
Vatican.
might have the
bro.
Da Vinci Code on it.
No, yeah. So there's so kind of what people are thinking is the Secretary of State or whatever in the Vatican is kind of the right hand guy of the Pope. He's an Italian guy, and like if you're you can bet on this, by the way. 40% odds is that he's going to be the Pope. But the issue is they haven't had a Pope who is who was the Secretary of the Vatican, whatever church state,
Right.
be the Pope since 1939. What happened in 1939?
Ah, shit.
World War II.
Yeah.
So if the Secretary of State comes in 2025, I don't think that means a very good thing for the planet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That is scary. That is really scary. And all because of JD Vance, too.
Because of JD Vance.
Yeah, dude.
Why don't you, download us, bro. What did JD Vance do to kill the Pope?
I don't know. I'm just seeing online. He went and met him, and then the next day the Pope died, dude. It's crazy.
You think JD Vance was like, fuck, I hate Americans so much, I don't want to live anymore?
Dude, I don't know. That was crazy. You mean Pope Francis?
What'd I say?
You said JD Vance.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I mixed
Yeah,
that
no,
up.
yeah, Pope Francis. No, dude, I mean, the guy was probably already, like, unwell or whatever.
well,
right?
the thing is that he was sick for like a month. Plus. But you know what I found really interesting? Like, okay, so I woke up today and I checked my Facebook, and Pope Francis died, and I'm like, wow, Easter Monday and all this other stuff. And I had heard that JD Vance went specifically over there to try to catch all this stuff and whatever. No, it's a very big deal, like 100%. I just found it really odd, though, when hearing on the news, driving to work, and like I realized that we're 8 hours or 9 hours in the past or whatever, based on where this occurred. Right. But the doctors already know they are already telling you 100% this is how he died. He had some sort of embolism that led to a stroke, that led to this, that led him to have heart failure, that led him to have this thing, led him coma, and then he just was irreversible heart damage, and then he died. That's unbelievable for a coroner or whatever to have that instantly done. All the testing, I know he was sick for a long time, but it just seems like when we hear about a actress or whatever, and I don't understand, an actress is not as big as the Pope or whatever. Oh, we're going to take weeks to find out how this person actually died and all this.
Yeah, like when the guy from Friends or whatever.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like it has nothing to do with anything. Just to make that very clear. It's just like they were instantaneously, this is exactly how this person died to the T. Like, what about toxology? What about this? What about that?
That's true. Yeah.
Nothing. This is 100%.
It's like they wrote it a week ago and they're telling us.
I don't want to get killed for saying that. But the thing is that that's what I'm alluding to. It just seems so odd that you could have a 100%, definitive, this is how he died of all the stages of the death when it takes all this other time for everybody else.
Yeah.
Like Gene Hackman. Took a week plus before you started to find out a little bit. I'm not saying Gene Hackman is the Pope, but Gene Hackman was a pretty good actor. He was pretty big. He's got a number of Best Actor things. He's a legend. You think that you'd find out even 2 days? No, it takes a week.
So, Owen, who do you think is going to kidnap you first? The Vatican or McDonald's?
I know.
The A&W guy.
The A&W guy. I think he's local. He's out to get me.
When he talks about him, Owen wants to smoke, dude. Owen's like, I'll beat the shit out.
Oh man, you're gonna be at the barn one day, and just an A&W truck is gonna pull up. 3 guys get out in burger suits. You want some all Canadian beef, my boy?
That's hilarious.
At least it's grass fed, right?
That's hilarious. Oh,
dude,
man.
so how is running the premier country bar in BC?
Yeah,
for sure, Surrey, Rusty's has no chance.
Yeah, so,
and then. What?
Bringing up the ops already.
100%.
Name dropping the ops.
Okay, so the thing is that I'm really impressed with the success, obviously, of the barn. Like it's the community for the country, the people, just everybody's been like, we've needed this. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really it's been a real kind of eye opener and a wow factor and kind of I don't know, it kind of feels like, without sounding like, egotistical in any shape or form, I've been in the industry all my life. Like my dad was involved from an early age, like when I was early age, and I've been involved with the pub industry, and I have done a lot of great. And getting to a point where now it's the barn, I've been blessed by certain individuals to say, hey, run a bar like you would run a bar, operate it like you would run it, and have at her. And I've been really appreciative of the fact that I've been able to do that and actually kind of do something that actually does feel like it is on my own.
Yeah.
And my vision and it's been unbelievable. Like the people in the country community have just been itching for this for so long.
Yeah.
They're just so supportive and so caring, and just it feels like magic when you're there, especially on a Friday or Saturday night. It feels like some blast from the past, and I've been really blown away by just the support and of that community, and I'm really embracing it, and I'm really happy. But to have a bar the way that it's going, like it's insane, and it's just, to me, it's like if I can do this, I can kind of do anything, you know, like I've done, I know I've done it before, but it just feels like this is the one that really means a lot, especially considering that it was something for a decade and it meant a lot to a lot of people. And it was a great place for a time, a great organization. And to have something where it's completely 180 of what it was, and have something like a country bar, which everybody's been itching about, and there's just something different. Like there is an aura, and I'm trying to take it day by day, the support, but we've only been open for 3 months.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you, in January I was stressed about money and whether this was the right decision, and whether this was going to be something or whether this was a huge mistake. You know, so it's been wonderful. Like it really has. I have nothing but love and support and appreciate not only the guest and all the support from them, but the staff, the entertainment, the people that have been involved with this process. I mean, it's not me. I'm just a figurehead, you know, like it's this culture, and it's something. It is something and something and something. And I'm just taking, like I said, day by day. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's been fun. Like, been quite enjoying myself.
For sure.
So.
I think something you guys do that's really different from a lot of bars is just a live entertainment. And I remember I went to Victoria last year, and just the bars there, live entertainment, everyone was having a good time, just like enjoying the music, enjoying people play that music. And you guys do that really well too. Yeah. And it's like super unique in Surrey because you can't find very many other places that do live entertainment at that level, right?
Yes.
And so
not even a lot of places in the Lower Mainland in general, like
outside
even,
honestly,
there's barely any place in Vancouver that do.
No, they just
like
put on a
well,
Spotify playlist and like just let it go. And
that's the thing. Like what I noticed, when you talk about Rusty's, obviously they're a bar that has a segment of the country area, but when we were doing that same thing at the Tap House Coquitlam on long weekend Sundays, it was successful. Roxy has been doing it.
Yeah.
And so there was definitely a need. And you look at something like a Rusty's, and I'm like, I commend them for wanting to branch out and try to do it. But the thing is with us is that we're full country. We're not changing from that.
Yeah.
And we're operating until 2 a.m. and we're operating a huge dance floor, and we're operating as everything is that. We're not trying to be a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. So again, I commend them, and I commend all of the previous places that led up to this moment. And for me, even the Yale, like, I mean, they're not really a competitor. They're just some offering downtown. But when Tap House Coquitlam was doing the country Sundays, there was definitely a need. And even before all of this, before everybody, before our Rusties, before all this, even some of the JRGs that were around that do these Roosters nights or whatever, back when I was at my previous establishment before the Tap House, I used to do long weekend Sunday country nights where we brought in bands, and it was successful then, and that was 10 plus years ago. So like the format was there. It was just there was a time and a place, and now that nobody was doing it, it's like here's an opportunity.
Why not?
And it just and we were not successful at our Surrey location with the format that we were before. We lost money, and it was a struggle. It's not because we didn't bring in a lot of money; it was fine, but it didn't turn a profit, and we're not in that to do that, and that's why it's tough on the hospitality industry. So. Even though people are drinking less and going out less and all this other stuff, if you build something that people want, a destination, I'm not joking about that whole, if you build it, it will come, they do.
Yeah.
And so I've been taken back a little bit because I'm the first person to give you every possible reason why a place isn't successful in this environment, whether again it's the government in charge, inflation, all these different things. Like I'll give an excuse, no density, blah. But when you have something that will drive people to your place because it's just so magical, it's pretty something. And it's out there.
Sure. And I think you can tell the authenticity, right? Like you can tell when a place is really trying to do that thing versus trying to like find out what's popular. Totally. Right? Like, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just thinking, like, one of the things that I've seen and looking at like your advertising and stuff like that, or just kind of seeing like what the crowd looks like.
Yeah.
I get like this feeling like just of the atmosphere that you've created. I don't get like when you look at a place like the Roxy, it feels like not to say that they don't do a good job of their country stuff, but it feels like a country nightclub. Whereas where I want to go like to my bar, if I'm going to the bar and it feels like that's your place, and you go in and you can tell you see familiar faces there in the pictures and everything, and it's a very diverse crowd. It feels like that's where your community goes. Yeah. And so like that is something that, just like your local bar that everyone's always at, for the happy hour, and like you notice those places, and even if it's a chain place, it's just always busy because the community just always goes there. Mm-hmm. That's how it kind of feels. It just feels like, and it's a weird thing to say about a bar, but it feels wholesome. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that that's something that people aren't really putting an effort into doing. They're usually trying to appeal to whatever crowd is paying them the most money, and then kind of ignoring 100%. Other people. Where it's like you see the people going in, they're probably not getting a giant amount of shots for all their friends and buying everyone drinks or trying to get bottle service or something like that. It's probably just a group of friends getting a couple beers, having a good time. Another group of friends, and that expands and expands and expands, and that's what it feels like. And when we went in there for we did a drive-by,
in and out.
We were in there 10 minutes, but just even being in there for a moment, it's like feels
the
safe.
Vibes were good.
Feels safe. It feels people are excited. People are smiling. Like it's like a lot of like in nightclubs, you get this feeling of like you brush a guy's shoulder, you walk past him, everyone's kind of like, why'd you touch me like this? It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like if you were to fall over, someone's going to help you up. That's what it feels like.
And I think that's something, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I think it's like something we've lost, at least in like where we grew up. It's just like you don't have we would go to like small bars. Yeah. And you would have like really that community bar feeling. Yeah. And then anytime you get past like that community, like a small bar within a community or a small sub municipality or whatever you want to call it, you start getting into this weird feeling where you have to feel like you need to show off and you need to be this type of person. But like the barn really does feel like it's like a community like bar. Yeah. Like you're going there, you're having fun with your friends, and you're just there to have fun. Yeah. And then if you're a single guy and you're lucky enough, maybe a girl touches your penis, but
wait a second.
No, I have a fiance. I'm very happy, so I don't need that. I'm just
always says something, and then he's like, "I just want to say I love my fiance. I don't want anybody to touch me anywhere."
No, definitely not.
Hi, honey. I'll be home soon.
Well, what he's alluding to is it feels safe for you to actually go and meet people. It doesn't feel like I don't think girls go there and feel unsafe, and I don't think guys go there and feel intimidated. And I think like that's a really cool environment that you create where everybody feels comfortable. I would feel comfortable talking to someone that's 50 there. I would feel comfortable talking to someone that's
I would feel real comfortable 25. Talking to someone that's 50.
I would feel almost like this is kind of an establishment where everybody's going there because they all know that this is the sense of purpose, is that they just want to experience a good time. Mm-hmm. It's safe, diverse crowd, diverse ages, everybody there for entertainment and just to have a good time. Yeah. The staff having a good time. It's just an aura. Yeah. Even the hot dogs stand outside kind of thing. Like just everything is in unison. Mm-hmm. And although there's going to be a select amount of people that probably are going to get there to get laid or try to or whatever, I don't think that's the intent. Yeah. Whereas a lot of nightclubs and pubs or whatever, that's the original meaning is I'm going to try to get hooked up or whatever. Mm. No, I think it's just because people want to have a good time. Yeah. They want to go there because it's so phenomenal and so feel good that, like I said, there's something magical there. I don't say that lightly because I've been in the industry a long time, and there have been moments in my life where I have felt that. And right now, what we have going at the barn feels like something that I haven't seen in 20 years. Mm-hmm. Wow. And I encourage people to go. I encourage people to go and have a good time and experience something that is magical. There's an aura there, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm very proud of it. But again, it's not me. This has nothing to do with me. Mm. This is the team and the guests. They're the ones that make it. It's the entertainment to everything. Like I think we have good food. I do. I think we have good cocktails, whatever. But everybody serves a Molson Canadian. Everybody serves a Soul. Everybody serves a Highball. Everybody serves Jameson. Yeah. Like we have a burger. It's good. It's better than Fat Burger, but but
I might have to try that sometime.
but I'm just saying that it's like we're not trying to be something we're not.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
We're genuinely going into a Friday or Saturday night and are there to have a good time and to have a good time with the people that are having a good time.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm hoping this just continues. But I'm going to relish it while we can.
Yeah.
Man, that's not a hot dog joke.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome, man. Keep doing what you guys are doing at the barn. It's sick. It's awesome. Yeah.
But I like what you were saying about like, it's like a classic like nightclub or bar thing to try and like associate with like, oh, here's a place where you go to try and get laid. Like, I feel like when I see the people at the barn, I don't think that there's this overarching pressure of like, a girl to dress a certain way or for a guy to spend a certain amount of money or behave a certain way. Like it literally feels like you go in there and like you're making friends with everybody. Like, you see like some pictures where it's like someone who's like 50 and they're like, hugging like this guy who's like 19 and they're all like line dancing and stuff. That feels so comfortable. And I think that's something that's really missing in a lot of places. And that's why people stayed home. Yeah. Because people are getting more used to not wanting to put themselves out there and be like, uncomfortable outside and things are getting more weird and dangerous and it almost feels like a nice place. It feels familiar when you go there, which is really nice. So,
yeah, totally.
I wanted to ask you really quickly about one thing that you mentioned is like people are like drinking less and presumably it's the youth are drinking less. Like what do you know why they're doing that or do you understand kind of what the evidence of that is?
So I'm on I'm a board member of Able BC. So I'm basically I'm a lobbyist for the liquor stores, cannabis, pubs, and nightclubs. And what we do is we basically act on behalf of these other groups to the government in order to kind of do things. So whether it's trying to get bottle service or trying to change a certain law or whatever like that or get hospitality discounts or whatever that's kind of what this group is and it's essentially the pub association. So I see a lot of stats and I see a lot of like things that go on and I'm on my understanding of the industry is 2024 was the worst for restaurants and bars in Canada for closures.
Wow.
It was worse than COVID. Like that's how messed up that was. There are people that are drinking less, and a lot of it is the youth because they are getting more into smoking weed or vaping, especially. And then also the fact that the government of Canada really emphasizes that you really should only have 2 drinks a week, not a day, not anything. It's 2 drinks a week. I think I've had 10 ounces and whatever, or whatever.
Owen's been going on.
As soon as you said 2 drinks a week, I was like, I'm probably going to die soon.
So the thing is that there is a real emphasis of the pressure of the not. I think that it's just an ever-changing culture. I think that there's a lot of people that are growing up in households and maybe just not really liking what they see necessarily with alcohol or not or whatever. I don't know that side, but I don't know. I don't know whether it's mental health. I don't know whether it's just a lot of different factors or the prevalence of more mocktails or alternatives. I mean, think about it. And even for you, because you're obviously a lot younger than me, but 10 years ago, how many options of non-alcoholic beer could you get? Molson XL.
Yeah.
O'Doul's Amber and Lager. That I'm pretty sure that's like the 3. I at this point I can't think of anything else. Yeah. You didn't have non-alcoholic lime margaritas or 8 different other things: Heineken, Kronenberg, Bud, this and that, whatever. Yeah. And that's just the beers. I'm just talking about like now you can get non-alcoholic wines. There's in fact a store in Poco that is entirely the entire store is non-alcoholic. Of different things. I just think that it's just there's a sector and. I also think that I just think COVID also interrupted a lot of people's going out and partying and screwed up a lot of people's kind of mentality of how things are. And it also costs an arm and a leg.
Yeah,
People
that's
don't have
true.
as much money to spend.
That's fair,
and I think there's just a number of factors in that. And that's what makes it challenging, you know? And so that's kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah. No, you said a lot of really good things. What I heard is we need to reduce taxes so that I can drink more. That's what I heard.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like you look at, the Liberal government, and every year they increase, taxes on our alcohol, and they also tax on a lot of different things. And regardless of the tariffs, non-tariffs, all that kind of argument or whatever, with aluminum cans to whatever, it's just everything costs more. Everything does. I mean, people just don't have as much money as they used to, and they're choosing wisely what they want to spend their money on and all this other stuff. And, maybe their drug of choice is weed or vaping, because that's just an easier high or whatever compared to the alcohol aspect, you know. I don't know. I just know that that's one side of the argument, and that can be done by facts. Again, with the government saying 2 drinks, and they're trying to get to a point where on alcohol bottles they do the same thing as what the smoking does with the cigarettes. Here's what alcohol does on lung cancer and all this other stuff. Imagine getting your local 6-pack from a thing that has, I don't know, like an inflated liver that wants to explode. I don't know.
No, you just see a really awesome guy talking to a lot of people, just having the
garage beers. With
just having the best time ever.
But yeah, no, it's just they're pushing it, and people feed it, and they go on with it, and I don't know. But in that same vein, I'm saying if you build a destination, there still is money out there, and there's people are looking for something else. Yeah. Because instead of going to X bar or X restaurant, because I mean, honest to God, tell me what the difference between Brown's and Cactus and Joey's and Earl's is. Please, just tell me what it is. And that's not even including King's Tap, Snell's, and Birdie's and whatever. Yeah. They're all the same flipping thing. But that's the thing with bars. It's the same. It's like, you go to your local pub to this pub, they're all the same. They're all touting the thing.
That's true.
So maybe people are just getting tired of it, and they're deciding, instead of me going out into an inflated price, maybe it's better for me to just buy it and go home. But I think a lot of that comes down to COVID and Uber, and we're lazy as a society.
Yeah.
We don't want to go out as much.
Yeah, I think things are becoming more comfortable for us too, but I think I think alcohol has kind of had its run. Now, it will always exist, and that's why it's taxed so heavily, because the government knows that we will always buy alcohol, right? But I think that there's something else that's having its run now, which is what you alluded to, like something like weed or like vaping or something. It's having its moment of everyone is doing it. It's become this big thing, and then I think 100 years from now it'll be something else. So I just think alcohol will never go back to, no matter what we do as far as it's like changes in the government or how we advertise it. I think it's kind of, at the spot that it'll be in, and it'll just kind of stay here now. It'll kind of coast.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all, because like Owen said earlier, alcohol has been part of like literally every society.
Yeah, but
in its entirety.
It was the only thing before, and now it's just kind of...
Well, that's not true. Like, if you're in Vancouver in the 1960s, everybody was smoking weed. It's not like it wasn't accessible to people. Like, everybody was smoking. It is a lot more easy to get now. You don't have to go to a drug dealer or anything like that. But I think alcohol is always going to be there. I think just right now, people are like, okay, it's just cheaper to like smoke weed and, do that sort of thing. But
so let me ask you this. So to both of you.
Yeah.
If you could go right now and get 3 $6 beers at your local pub right now, or go to that same pub and get a 2-ounce cocktail, but it costs $18.
Jesus.
2-ounce cocktail or 3 $6 beers?
The beers.
Which one are you going to take?
I don't even like beer, but if you did like
a
$4 highball,
I guess. Okay, sorry. I guess my point to the reason is that people are, again, because they don't have as much money to afford, they want a superior product.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And instead of the 3 beers for $18, 3 times 6 or whatever, they'd rather the 2-ounce drink for $18 and just have that one drink.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you have 2 ounces over 3 beers. It's still less.
Right.
It still will always be less.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that a lot too.
Yeah.
It's that people are just picking and choosing. or they're sharing more. Like those shareable cocktails. Like instead of
Shareable
like I said,
cocktail.
yeah, instead of
the big bowl where you have a bunch of straws.
Oh.
Yeah, we did that before. Me and you on the beach, 2 straws.
yeah,
You
what is
remember?
that Tahiti place or whatever, the Shameful Tiki?
Oh, Shameful Tea.
Like but that's what's happening a lot of times. These people are, they're sharing vapes, they're sharing alcohol, like they're just trying to like whatever they can to get a quick like little high or whatever. But again, it might be 4 people drinking 9 ounces, but 4 people, that's if we had 3 doubles or whatever, we're already past what we're normally. But that's what people don't do anymore.
No, I don't like that's definitely a generational thing because like I'll go out with like the boys and we'll.
Generational thing, exactly.
It's like I couldn't imagine sharing a drink with anybody other than Chiggy, but
No, but there's just so many factors. Like even we were talking about before the podcast. Now, like media is all about health and going to the gym and stuff like that too. So I see more videos on how to drink so that it doesn't mess up your stuff with the gym and like how to drink without getting a hangover. Like there's something called the TSL method, which is the tequila soda lime method. What you do is you just drink a bunch of salt and water beforehand to get yourself really hydrated, and then you just do tequila soda lime all night, and then you just make sure you're drinking 1 glass of water per the classic thing. And so like I see that video more than like I see like random like how to make a particular cocktail or
biohacking alcohol is
biohacking alcohol. Yeah, so it's like, but people are probably just doing that, and there's just so many other things. That's what I'm trying to say is that alcohol at its moment, and there's just so many other ways people are enjoying life and doing things that it's kind of just blended into everything.
You crack a soy sauce pack and you have it before you go to bed, and everything equalizes.
Whoa, wait, what?
Dude,
yeah,
this is coming from the guy that had 500 Big Macs in his freezer. All right, don't listen.
That's how you do it.
He's trying to poison us right
It's
now.
electrolytes for God's
Yeah, I'm gonna
sakes.
try this
Soy
for
sauce.
sure.
Before you go to
Probably
bed,
tonight.
get one of those cheap free soy sauce things. And get the Chinese one because the Japanese one's not. It's lighter.
Whoa,
You
really?
would have just started a war right there.
Whoa,
It's lighter. It is. It's lighter in sodium and then the color.
This is how it went. Pope Francis died on Monday, and on Tuesday we've got Owen
Japan versus China.
over soy
More
sauce.
sodium. No, you take a hit of that little quick pack.
Well, if they
before you
fight
go to
over
bed.
soy sauce, at least
Yeah.
Taiwan's gonna be happy.
Au jus. Beef dip au jus. You have that in the morning too, or a soy sauce pack. Electrolytes. Fuck.
He's not crazy. He's not kidding
Gatorade
about-
or any of that stuff. No.
Owen is not kidding about this Oju thing. This is a running
No, it's
thing
salt
about
water.
him. When Owen actually like he loves beef dip and he'll just drink the whole Oju. Like sometimes a little leftover, right?
Yeah.
He'll just drink it. He'll just drink the Oju. He doesn't.
I
even care
go to
about
a
the
bar
sandwich.
and they know that even if I'm not even getting a beef dip, they'll offer me an au jus to take home so I can have it in the morning because
the
that's my
fuck outta
coffee.
here.
No, electrolytes, it balances it out. You get your salt water in your
What are we
body. No,
I'm telling you, this guy's immune to everything.
no,
He ate those Big Macs in the '90s so he could drink Oju.
Your
in the
body
20s.
will be
I will
preserved.
bathe in that au jus. It's that good. Like absorb it through the skin. That's what you have to do.
Yeah,
Why
that's
spend
awesome.
$3 for Gatorade? Seriously, the Chinese, they give those packets out like candy.
I love how
know?
I started this podcast about like, well, Owen's conservative. He's going to tell us about who to vote for. We haven't talked about
I know,
politics.
we
Yeah,
haven't.
no, that's a
We've
good.
talked about more food-related heists than I've ever
No,
talked about
that's
with
a good
anybody.
point.
Can I pee now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's take
let's-
a break.
I was
We'll
just
get
gonna
into
say,
the meat.
Yeah.
The meats, yes.
And we're back with the big burger boss man from the barn, and he's gonna tell us who to vote for in this next election.
Yeah. So Owen, you're nope. This is no secret to anyone. If they're friends with you on Facebook, they know that you are a conservative, but you feel, and I won't say you don't, that this is invalid. That you have some real reasons why you feel that way, and I think that I would preface this by saying, or at least trying to describe the feeling on both sides. I'll do this the best I can, but Rashawn, you'll probably have to help me out because
Yeah, I'll
I'm not
jump in.
I'm not the most political guy. So from my understanding, and maybe you can describe exactly how the right feels, but I'll try and speak for what
Yeah.
the left generally. So people who are liberal aren't necessarily like, they don't necessarily just want to live in a communist society, but they do feel like, there's certain things they're okay paying taxes for because they want to be able to have that support and they want to be able to have less, or more restrictions on businesses that can, make their lives harder or take advantage of them. They just don't want to be taken advantage of. And they don't mind helping the people around them and helping people that are less fortunate by paying taxes and getting them that support. Is that generally just the liberal feeling?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think you expressed, like, at least you're like 40% gay. Like, that's, I think, how you came off. And I think that's about about like what a liberal person would be, right? No, I'm like 46%. So like, I understand where you're coming from. So yeah, no, I think that's an accurate take. I think like just the balance between corporations and government is always a hard one to like, figure out, right? Because it's always a balancing act, right?
But I feel like the way that it almost gets portrayed in the media is it's both sides get very polarized, where it seems like liberals are communists and that conservatives are just people who want all the corporations to win and everything. So it's very difficult to kind of navigate, like, what are we really voting for when we vote for one side or the other? Because I feel like a lot of people, especially people within our age range, are only reading headlines. They're only watching whatever clip from the debate took place, and then they're reading comments and they're deciding if the people that they're around agree or disagree, and then they just kind of try to assimilate to whatever group they're friends or family with. I feel like that's generally kind of what happens, and people don't understand what they're really trying to get out of what they're voting for. So that's what I want to establish. So Owen, why do you vote conservative? What is it that maybe the general conservative voter wants, and what is it specifically that you want?
Okay, so I'm going to be very obviously honest, and I'm honest in the sense of that I am a realist, and I know that in politics that what happens is a certain party will be in charge for an extended period of time, and they'll at the start have said everything that they want to get done and do and all this other stuff, and it's all this wow. And we're into year 10, basically, or 9 or whatever, with the Liberal government, which was propped up by the NDP. So it was a minority government, but it was propped up by another group that it wasn't voted in and stuff like that. But for me, I'll be the first to admit that if the Conservative government was in power this last 9 years, I'd be voting somebody else.
Right.
I'm a realist. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that's what I find very interesting. And I had said earlier in the podcast is that I am not it's one trick pony. I'm not, this is going to be me for forever. I look at the last 9 years, and I would honestly love for either one of you or anybody out there to tell me what the Trudeau government or the incoming Carney government has really done that was outstanding for the people of Canada.
Legalize marijuana.
Okay, so that was a big plus. That was a big plus 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people voted Trudeau for. That is number one. And so the thing is that now, as a non-marijuana user, I mean, I'm not saying that I haven't smoked a joint here and there or whatever. I'm just saying that was not part of what I believe. And again, also goes back to what people believe in politics. There are 1,000 things a government will say that this is what we believe in. I'm not going to say that I agree with everything. So there's a lot of people that also are like, it's one or nothing.
Yep.
So I don't care if the Liberal, government did the pot thing or whatever. It means nothing to me as a voter. But I'm not going to look at the little tedious thing over here and be like, well, that doesn't agree with me, so I don't agree with that or whatever. It's kind of part of the realization that we're always not going to agree on anything. I think that as a business, I think we do 95% of it's great, but we're not going to please everybody, Yeah. And there's going to be times where even the people that do love us, they might not agree with every possible thing, whether it's pricing or whatever. But I just know that if the Conservative government was in power, or the NDP or whoever, after 9 years of where we are today, and I don't care about the argument of, well, it was a once in a lifetime pandemic that caused it or whatever. No, I fundamentally disagree. Because there's a lot of countries that are doing a lot better, and like Denmark is one, Sweden is another. Like, I mean, you just keep on going down the list, but I I just think that they've been in power too long and they've forgotten how they got there. And I think a lot of people that voted for them, feel like there's going to be a change, and there's not. This is the same government, and that's why it needs to be done. And again, as a conservative, federally, if they were in power and they had done this exact same thing, I'd be running for the next group that I think would have been really great for this country to get us out of the mess that we're in.
Right.
Because I believe that as a society, we're in trouble. I mean, food banks are through the roof. The catch and release program is a disaster. The drug stuff is a disaster. And again, this is coming from somebody that was a past drug user. So like, I understand. I'm not calling kettle black. I just think that where things are, it's just not, we're not good, and people don't have any money and people are struggling. So I think it's time for a change. That's it, period, in a nutshell. Right. And people that try to say to me that there's going to be a defense to that, like that you think that this is what we're doing is okay. Again, I go back to what are you holding on to? Like, what are you holding on to? That's that's it.
Yeah. I think that, again, what I was saying was that everything is so polarizing. So what would you say to somebody that goes, okay, but if I'm voting for Pierre Poilievre, like, what am I going to be doing for my family now by voting for him? What am I going to be doing? What is my work life going to be looking like? Is it going to be more difficult to afford things? Is it going to be easier? Because like a lot of things get thrown around, like, oh, we're going to remove the GST on new homes, right? So when you look at that as somebody like, okay, well, I can afford to buy a new home regardless. So how does that affect me? What am I really gaining from voting for Poilievre?
Totally. So I look at something like the Trump thing that's happened with, where people are complaining about, well, Trump's in power and all these problems are caused by Trump or whatever. Right. And he's been in power for, 3 months, I guess. And you look at our country, and I feel that that's 10 years of a liberal leadership. And I don't want to say every possible thing is bad. I'm not going to give you an example of a good or a bad. That's why we just had this thing. But I just know where we are today. And what we were from 10 years ago to now, I don't feel good about where we are as a country, as a people.
Right.
Fair enough.
And then I look at the Trump thing, and regardless of whether you hate Trump or love Trump, it's irrelevant. Because as far as I'm concerned, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but in his brain, regardless of his disillusion or delusions or whatever people might think of him, in his brain, he believes that he's doing everything is right for the American people and his country. Okay? Right. So instead of it being, Trump is causing all these problems with Canada and all this other stuff, why doesn't Canada and the people look at this and say, well, maybe what it should be is we need to do what we do and make it better. We need to take our resources and make it better.
Right.
We need to build things more in our country and make it better. We need to stop relying on every other country in the world to make it do, because we have the land, we have the resources, we have the oil, we have all these different things.
Right.
But the thing is that we're constantly in this delusion of, we have to rely on the States and we have to whatever. Like, he's doing what he's doing in his own country. We need to stop relying on that. So to answer your question, as a conservative government, is the liberal government was the one that axed the pipelines.
Right.
They're the ones that want to deal constantly with China and all these other things. Like, I'm sorry, but we have what it takes to make this country great. And if anything, what it should do is really polarize our Canadianship and the people that live here and say, you know what, out of a 42 million population, we can do a lot better in the world and be a number one kind of country with all the things that we have to provide, whether it's, again, natural resources, the water, the lumber, the gas, the minerals, to whatever. We have a pretty special thing going on. We just have to do what we do and make it better. We have to act like Canada is a business. And that's what I feel a conservative government would do. They're going to cut taxes and stop wasteful spending, and they're going to start, focusing on what we do and make it better.
Right.
But But in that same token, I'm telling you right now, if they got in, just like any other party,
Right.
if they got in for 12, 16, 20 years or whatever, you'd think that one day one of these parties would, think of themselves and be like, how did we get here? Because a conservative government will work and it will help this, us have more money in our pockets and stuff like that. But you have to remember how we got here.
Right.
That's all. So for me, it's not so much about the conservative government. It's just that we need to really separate ourselves from where we are right now. And as far as I'm concerned, the Liberal Party and in the NDP, we're also too far left. We've gotten to a point where it is a communist society. They're banning free speech. You look at Britain, for God's sakes, where they're arresting people because of something they said on X that might offend somebody. Who's to give the power to offend somebody? I could say, I don't like people. Does that mean I get thrown in prison because I said people? Somebody's going to get offended by that.
Right. So you're saying the control is going way too far in one direction, but then somebody who might be more, say the word centrist or left-leaning centrist will be like, okay, well, what exactly is being cut then? Because what I was saying before, the general kind of liberal voter might be like, well, I still want some, support from the government. I still want, whether it be, an RRSP or something like that. It's like, what kind of things I'm seeing the advantage of when I pay my taxes or when I do this mutual investing with the government, I'm getting some benefit out of it. And will I be losing these things? Will those things that I benefit from the government suddenly be taken from me if I vote in the conservative? Because I feel like that's a fear people have on what is being cut.
100% it does.
Yeah. I mean, not to defend,
You can
listen,
yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah.
To be fair, you've been paying all these taxes
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
Nothing has been working, right? I thought it was interesting. A point you mentioned was that I forgot what I was gonna say. So
The thing is that the liberals are attacking the conservatives, especially Polyev, for instance, about the child food program that he voted against it.
Right.
Yeah, so nobody's been fed from that program.
I did hear about this. Yeah,
Nobody yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I understand things take time and all this other stuff, but we had no problem sending a shit ton of money to Ukraine.
Right.
Could have been money spent for Canadians. And I don't want to sound like somebody that's like, oh, I don't support this over this. We have to defend somebody else's wars or whatever. I don't even want to touch that at this point.
Right.
The fact of the matter is that as far as I'm concerned, we should do whatever we can as a society for Canadians and do it the best we possibly can and support Canadians before we start to indulge into other things. Even if you sent half the money to Ukraine that you did, let's just say, and I'm using Ukraine as an example. If you sent half the money there or half the money to Israel or half the money to whatever country, could we not get this program going? But it's not, because the thing is a facade. It is an absolute joke. It's a lie. All this stuff is government bullshit. It really is. And I'm not saying that the conservatives wouldn't do the same or whatever. There is a fundamental thing that is going on in this world that's wrong. I cannot trust the governments. I cannot trust anything. You have to rely on yourself. As far as I'm concerned, it's just, you need to, yes, I'm probably going to get murdered in my sleep. But I'm just saying that I learned over this past COVID thing that I feel differently. I feel played as a citizen of Canada, but it's not even a citizen of Canada. It's a citizen of humanity, And so as far as I'm concerned, you look at the States under Joe Biden. They sent so much money to Ukraine that they could have fundamentally changed all of the stuff in the United States, everything. The infrastructure could have been redone. Every road would have been paved, all this other stuff. They don't. They don't do it.
So that's I've alluded to these points about, sorry, did you want to go ahead?
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I've alluded to these points about when you're looking at it from the perspective of somebody that's more left-leaning, you are worried about what's being cut. But I personally have that fear for one, but I do have the other fear of I've seen what like something like low income housing looks like in like a place like the States. It always gets abandoned. And what you're saying about certain programs that get implemented and they just end up being a facade and we don't know where the money is going. I don't want the money to go into the pockets of the government if I'm now voting for these, on the belief that these policies will work and that these programs will work and I will get the support that I want out of it. That's also a big fear. And I feel like that gets acknowledged on both sides. And then what do you have? What you have is a very confused person that's trying to do their due diligence. And on one side, you're afraid of what's being cut out. And on the other side, you're afraid of what's being, told that's true that isn't, So.
You look at Doge, okay?
Yeah.
You have a guy that's the wealthiest man in the world, sometimes up and down. If you're not aware, but he is, we're talking about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He's been taxed the most out of any human in the history of mankind. Wild. And this guy is going to work to eliminate all this wasteful spending. And in the opposite side, he's being called a Nazi and having all these places burned up and his cars getting graffitied with all this other stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
he's exposing fraud for no reason. Like, he has no real reason to do this.
Right.
And it's like, but he's the bad guy for saying that.
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying. To be fair, too, though, like, he's not an elected individual. He's not. So he's
not bought out
for sure. But I do think that there's like a proper way and a proper way to go about probably the Doge thing is like, do you really want a private citizen running the anti-spending wing of the government, right? Like, is he the right person to do that? As in, like, he has the power to look into it and then also execute. So he's the judge and jury and the executioner of all of this, like, wasteful spending or whatever he might be. And, he said too, like, hey, we might cut too much and we can put it back. But that's like people's lives that you're messing with, right? Like, there's government, workers or people who are expecting money to pay their bills, their mortgages, feed their kids, send them to school, whatever the case is. And then, like, cutting that and then bringing them back like a week and a half later is not a great look. So I think there's probably a better way they could have gone about it. I agree with most of what you're saying, and as far as like Elon Musk not being the antichrist as far as like
it's weird that he's now
goes.
he's a Nazi. It's
put your hand down.
You're moving a little bit crazy. He's just waving, guys. He's waving, bro. He has autism.
No, I listen. I understand what you're saying. I do. But I guess I just find it ironic that they've stolen everybody's money. And we're hating the guy that exposes the fact that they're spending all your money.
No, you're paying the taxes. A fact.
In fact, he said that at the end of his contract, he wanted to give every single American $5,000 US. You're telling me you wouldn't want $5,000 US?
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, but you can't. The problem is you can't correct me if I'm wrong. Like, the thing is that in a lot of ways I could argue that maybe it's true. Because of how much waste there is. Because there are so many people that are corrupt. In fact, I'm not joking. Today, I just posted about some story in the U.S. by some government employee that worked 27 years. He did nothing. And he got paid $100,000 a year.
No, I agree. So I know a little bit more about Canadian than I do about American, but like the Trudeau government has used more consultants than I think the last like 3 administrations combined. So like they've spent a lot on just like having somebody come and be like, I think this is a good idea.
For sure. And let me
bro, if you were a consultant during the Trudeau government, you were making bank.
Yeah. But again, let me again go back to it though. Again, this is coming from I'm conservative. I believe that this could happen in conservative government too.
Oh, without a doubt.
I just think everybody's corrupt. Well, and that's what I'm trying to get at.
And it sounds like
You can't trust the government. You can't trust people. You can't trust all this other stuff. Like, come on.
You're just kind of picking,
Bro, it sounds like-
who's gonna.
Yeah.
You're just
You
picking
know,
like
like-
who's gonna oppress
But,
you.
but don't get upset and angry with me because we have different opinions. We actually really kind of have the same opinion.
Yeah.
It's just and there's some things that the left do well that the right don't, and so on. I just believe in common sense. Like I said, I mean, do we really have to live in a life of paper straws? No. Like
Fuck them turtles, bro.
Mic drop. No, we don't. Because why make it life that much harder on everybody? Like, because I think we're just being played from every possible angle. And I'm not, again, for me, I'm tired. I am tired, honestly, of the liberal stuff. I am, because I just wish people would just wake up into reality and be like, seriously, like, what are we defending here? Like, seriously.
Well, I think what you don't get to do on your Facebook posts that you got to kind of do now is just express your frustration with what happened before and what you really want out of everything and why you're going in this direction. And you get to justify that if it was a conservative government this whole time and you felt the same way, then you would be saying...
Of course, 100% I would.
Well, and
a prime example, okay? Prime example. Liberal provincial government for BC from basically, again, I don't want to like butcher it, but whatever the time that Gordon Campbell went in and then got us through, the Sea to Sky got built, the SkyTrain got built to the airport, we had BC Place got redone. This was like 2007 to 2012 or whatever. The Olympics happened. Probably the heyday of BC. Like heyday.
True.
Like I again, could have been bad things.
Make
but
BC
I'll
great
give
again.
you bam, 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 bam. The barge obviously finally died this year, but but the thing is that there was amazing things happen. In fact, I think the Port Mann Bridge got built during that time too. Toll sucked, but whatever. Okay, that's part of the why they're out. But they also got rid of this the highway toll, which everybody used to pay for the Okanagan. Which again, I always thought everybody's so used to paying for this thing for 40 years. Why not just cut it in half and people would be happy instead of just eliminating it? But whatever. That's my opinion. But it's just kind of one of those things where it was brilliant. Brilliant. And I'm a liberal provincially. I voted Conservatives this past one because there was no Liberal Party. The United was death. Kevin Falcon, good guy, but I don't know what happened. But it's just one of those things where they were so good. And then the whole Christy Clark and Gordon, Campbell. Yeah. And then they did some weird things that I can't honestly pinpoint where it was, but they were in power too long. And they forgot how they got there.
I think it was with the teachers union.
It could have been.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those ones where they did nobody could argue with how amazing that they did. And again, it could have been an NDP government, doesn't matter. It's just they did phenomenal, but then they just catastrophically,
imploded. Yeah,
they did, because I'll tell you, the Conservatives provincially, in my opinion, have always been the right-wing lunatics.
Yeah,
they have been. Like that's why they've kicked out a number of their caucuses and all this. I'm not that person, but how is it all of a sudden that they've gotten so close to the NDP in this thing? And it's just what happened to the Liberals, But it's just one of those things where it's like, that's what I'm trying to say is you cannot be with a party for so long and they have to start forgetting how they got there. You got to be for the people. You have to be there. You have to be walking the streets. You got to understand how people think. You got to be a family member. You got to be a person that's low income. You got to be a person that's, it could have been drug addicted or alcohol or whatever. Like you're a business owner or whatever. Got to remember how you got there. And things do adapt. Things do change, whether it's economically or technologically or whatever,
So I guess where do you think the federal election results are going to go? Because the 28th is like the official day where Canadians will submit ballots, they'll vote. After that, where do you think we'll be? Are we going to have a Carney government, or you think we're going to shift over to a conservative government?
I truly believe that if Trudeau was in power still, it would have been a significant, conservative majority.
Yeah.
I am afraid that there's going to be a minority. I am. I feel like it's the conservatives. I feel like that because I don't believe the polls. I don't believe. I'll give you an example, and this is why I hate the media and I hate what's going on. But a year plus ago, I went to a Pierre Poilievre rally in Coquitlam, and this is before all the elections, all this other stuff. Man, there's 3,000 to 5,000 people at this thing, and he did shake hands with every single person as they were leaving. You know, like unbelievable.
I saw that. That was your profile picture.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It was shocking. I showed up late and I was able to shake his hand and I got to leave early and not deal with the traffic. I was like, this is the best thing ever. Yeah. I'll do that from now on. You know, like stupid of me if I got there early, but unbelievable. And I feel like when they ended up doing this thing at 96 and 192, Pierre Poilievre had this rally just about a month ago. And this is during an election. The media, the news, and all that kind of stuff were like, oh, there's a couple hundred people at the Pierre Poilievre rally. A couple hundred people, really? Well, Pierre Poilievre and all that stuff, he was saying there was 5,500 people at this thing. 5,500. Yeah. You're a journalist. You said there was a couple hundred people there. What time did you show up? Like 8 hours before? You know, like the Edmonton, there was the largest rally it's been in 100 plus years or whatever. From political thing. I remember going a year plus and it was 3,000 people at least, you know. As a bar owner, I have to count people so I can kind of sort of tell, you know, hello. Your clicker with exactly. Patron scan. You're banned. But the thing is that like I just I couldn't believe that journalism would say, oh, there's only a couple hundred people. There's 5,500 people at this thing.
Yeah.
You know, and so the advanced polling, I went first day, and I waited 40 minutes, and I don't know what people voted for. I mean, that's our right and all this other stuff, but I just feel like people are tired of this. I go back to, you have to imagine, regardless of what you think of me, and again, if you know me, I love everybody in the sense of, you know, like I will do whatever I can. If, you know, if an NDP or a Liberal or a Green or whoever, maybe not a fascist or, you know, some radical party, whatever, was like, oh, let's do a fundraiser at my place. Yeah, of course, we'll do, you know, but not the radicals. But the fact of the matter is I'll support. Well, I'll support, you know, because I'm a human being. I want to help people. I always want to help people. And it's just one of those ones where I just feel like this is so polarizing, you know, this election and even the Trump stuff. It's like people hate each other for having different opinions. It's like if I vote Poilievre, I'm a racist. If I vote Poilievre, I'm a bigot. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, like, for sure. And then if you vote Carney, you're like, you like man's butts.
Oh, so I know. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. But you know what? So I watched the debates. I love that fucking French guy, dude. I don't even know his name. He was fucking hilarious that whole time, dude. He's fucking Jagmeet Singh was talking about like the liberals. We've been spending so much on oil and gas, and the dude was just like, "But you voted for them. Like,
exactly.
You voted for them." Like, the dude with the French accent and everything. If he wasn't so into Quebec. Like, if he didn't love Quebec so much, I would vote for that guy.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, he's just like a real dude. Like, he's like, listen, I know I'm not going to be prime minister, but I got to look out for the people that I'm looking out for. So, like, Quebec, you going to respect us or not, Carney? And so I thought that was really funny, dude. I thought he was a great... I thought he had a great debate.
Well, yeah, no, I'm hoping that the conservative government wins. I feel maybe they're going to be a minority just because of all the things that are going on.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what the NDP is going to do. It just feels like the way they're playing it, that they just want to match up with the Liberals and try to take over.
Yeah, that relationship is like kind of really weird. Skewed everything.
But I also feel like, honest to God, and this is where I'm like telling the truth right now. Did anybody hear, and I know he's done things for this country and England and all this stuff. Anybody ever hear of Mark Carney before this? Like, seriously.
You think that
he's going to be gone. And what I'm saying is if Poilievre gets elected and there's, you know, is Carney going to be the the opposition? Is he going to be the opposition leader?
No, definitely not.
Or
Definitely
is,
not.
is he
just
gone?
gonna- he's just gonna
and
kick
then
it,
he's going
yeah.
to be gone. Because I'll tell you this:
is, yeah.
where's Joe Biden? Where's Kamala Harris? You know,
Yeah.
where-
I think
where
that's
are these
interesting
people?
because it's like,
You know, like
You-
they
a
put
large
in, this is
component.
going to be the guy. This is it.
Yeah.
Mark Carney. Mark Carney is everywhere. Mark Carney's with Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. I used to
Oh.
like Mike Myers, but fuck you, asshole. You know, everybody's
let's
all
go.
like, oh, Mike Myers. You know, yeah, you used to be funny, but then, you know, I watched The Love Guru. Fuck you. You know, I fucking hate that guy now.
catching
I
strays.
fucking hate
Yo.
that guy now. He really bothers me. $53,000. Fuck you. You sellout. You fucking sellout.
but I do think it's interesting that like one of the people that are options to elect as our prime minister, the last decade of his work history, in order to examine whether or not it was successful, you have to examine whether or not it was successful in another country, which is
Yes.
really it's so odd. Like that seems unprecedented, right? And then it's difficult to bring myself to be like, okay, that's the right move. But it's again, I go back to this. I don't think people are really looking into everything. I think they're just choosing the person that's the most charismatic. And I think that if Trudeau stayed, everyone's just so sick of him that they're voting the other direction. But now that there's Carney and there's this other guy who's charismatic, and all you've ever heard about Trudeau, carbon tax, he's like, well, I'm not going to have you guys have carbon tax. I think that because people don't look into this far enough, it really is going to make it a very important for you to vote, because it will go either way. I think it was leading more towards, oh, we're definitely going to go to a conservative government if we still have Trudeau. But now that Trudeau's not there, it's every vote is super important now, depending on whether or not you want to vote or whether or not you think it's important to do so, right? So
yeah, no, I agree. That's why I think that, you know, the youth vote, everybody that's going into, you know, has the ability to do so. I mean, you know, they ironically, they tout so much into you shouldn't drink, and that's our stance from, you know, medical society. But yet, where have I ever seen that it's really important that young people need to vote? Where?
Mm-hmm.
You know, never.
Right.
Never. And I'm telling you, from somebody that 17 years ago, I ran for mayor of Coquitlam.
Oh shit!
Oh, really?
And I came third.
Oh,
No,
third out of
3. But the thing is that
I knew it.
at the same time, you know, like I still got 500 votes, you know, like,
Hell yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
huh?
yeah, no, I'm saying this truthfully, you know, like, as I use that as a joke all the time, you know, is that the youth need to vote. They need to start, you know, but we don't teach that. We don't teach that as part of our high school. We don't teach that part of why it's important and so on. Because when I went and ran for mayor, my whole platform was based on youth vote, because municipally it's always terrible, but
Yeah.
even federally and provincially, it's always low. And there's a lot of countries around the world that actually fine you if you don't. And I kind of am at that point where I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you think if you
Australia is one.
Oh wow.
do you think if you had a husband, you'd be more accepted by the youth vote?
What the hell does that even mean? I have a husband.
If you had a husband.
I have a wife. What?
No,
is that?
but if you had a husband, do you think they
So
would
I'm gay
vote?
now?
Yeah, do you think they'd vote for you more? I'd vote for you if you had a husband.
This guy.
It's a Chocolate Cowboys podcast where the good times always last. So grab your white monster and watch them ponder. It's a Chocolate Cowboys podcast. A couple of buddies who think they're funny. Are they brothers? Or do they have feelings for each other? It's a Chocolate Cowboys podcast.